Hey, and welcome to the balanced plate approach. This is an approach towards your nutrition that is going to give you a lot of flexibility and the freedom to pick and choose and build your meals based off principles that are going to guide you. What I love about this approach is that it doesn't require you to track absolutely everything down to the gram, but instead it's going to give you some visual cues on how you can build a balanced meal for the day that you're going to have, and it's going to be very simple to follow. One of the key benefits of this is also in that, unlike other diets or approaches to nutrition, which often keep within them a sense of restriction or trying to avoid certain food groups, with the balanced plate approach, instead of thinking about what we are excluding and what we can't have, it approaches your nutrition with a mindset of what are we including? So it's going to make you think about what types of protein am I including? What sources of fruit and vegetables to nourish me am I including in my diet? Are we going to add some carbohydrate, which is going to help us to fuel our performance? So, whenever we approach our nutrition from this inclusive mindset, we tend to develop a better relationship with food and a more balanced way to live. So, how does it work? Well, we're going to have two sample plates here. One of them is for a non-training day, and the second one is for a training day. So this is going to be your guiding principle as to whether or not you are going to include more carbs, which are the body's preferred source of energy for high intensity training days, or if we should approach our day with a little bit less carbs and more vegetables, which is going to be more volume for eating. It's going to provide a high level of fiber, which will help us with any hunger signals or keep us feeling fuller for longer. So, as you'll see here within the non training day, about half of our plate we're going to load up on veggies, fruit, anything that's really colorful and is going to nourish our body. Then we're going to split the other two halves of the plate with lean protein sources, including meat, fish. You can have some dairy, and ideally some lower fat cuts of even red meat. We can also include plant-based sources within this as well, the likes of beans and legumes, or even tofu and soy products. We're then going to have our carbohydrates as the final quarter. And then, because fats are very high in calorie on a gram to gram basis, they have 9, whereas the other macronutrients have 4. We are going to include just a thumb sized portion. Now, this could be your the likes of butter, it could be cream, it could be avocado, any of these types of things, but we are going to, in essence, limit them to a judicious amount. We also are going to encourage seasoning and trying to include as much flavor as we can while not getting too carried away with certain sauces that are very, very high in fat. We then go to our training day. For the training day, we want to emphasize more carbohydrate because, as I mentioned before, it's our body's preferred source of high intensity energy. Whenever we go into anaerobic types of metabolism, so really, really intensive weightlifting or high intensity cardio, that is going to be preferably cutting into our stored carbohydrates. And if we want to prioritize performance in this, then we need to eat to reflect that. So that's why in the meals before your training, particularly more than 4 hours out, we're going to emphasize getting in more carbohydrate so that we can be fueled up and ready to give it socks whenever it's time to train. We keep some good sources of vegetables within there and also our lean proteins. Your fats and seasoning will stay the same across both training and non-training days. And it should be mentioned that while, yes, this is a way to visually dissect a plate, there is by no means any reason to say that your meal has to be on a plate like this. You could, of course, get your carbohydrates from a bowl of porridge oats, for example. Your protein source could be a Greek yogurt or something like that. And your fruits and vegetables could be topped up with berries, raspberries, blueberries, and banana, for example. Fats coming from chia seeds. So just to let you know, there's a multitude of options, and I will have some lists within the article of options for these foods and sample meals down below that you can try out for yourself. So once we get into the habit of making these meals, you can then just on autopilot have certain foods prepped within your fridge. So it makes eating in a balanced way very, very easy to follow.